In this part of the video, I'm going to share some ideas and tips to help you in practice sessions and in rehearsal or performance. I'm also going to talk about a few things that you can do after you practice and after a performance. During our practice session, if we're feeling a little tense or stuck, we can simply put down our instrument and go back to the ideas we talked about in the first video. You can ask yourself whether you're shortening or expanding. If you are feeling a little tense in your neck, can you allow your neck to release so that your head can come into balance, which allow your whole body to lengthen, widen, and deepen? Are you aware of the space, the three-dimensional space around you, and also the three-dimensionality of your body? Sometimes by asking yourself these questions will help you to free up a little bit and make things a little easier. If for whatever reason that you need a little bit more reminder, simply do the movements that we did in the first video to help you find the mobility, the flexibility in your body. And remember to go for a walk. Also is a good way to take a break from your instrument and to remind you of self-awareness and spatial awareness. So what do we do when we're in a performance or rehearsal where we cannot put our instrument down? Here are a few things that we can do to help us find the freedom in our body again. The first thing that we can do is called a baby slump. So let me turn sideways so you can see what a baby slump is. And this is especially good for someone who tend to overextend themselves by lifting their chest. And this over time can feel really stiff. So what we're asking ourselves to do is to wilt a little bit. So I'm sort of gathering into my turtle shell very softly for a little bit. And then I'm going to ask myself to release my head away from my body and allow my whole spine to lengthen in relationship to that release. So again, we can take a baby slump. So how I'm intentionally taking myself tiny little bit in that turtle shell, and then I'm directing again out of my turtle shell to find that flexibility in my spine. Next thing that we can do is tipping from our hip joints. So again, quickly, we're gonna remind ourselves that our head is connected to our whole spine. And we can simply tipping forward by leading with our nose. And we're moving back and forth. I'm going to turn sideways again so you can see. So here is top of my head and I'm putting one hand there just to show you. But in rehearsal, you simply just have to remind yourself that there is a connection from the crown of your head all the way down to your sits bone. And here we are, we're simply gonna tip forward from our hip joint. So we're gonna tip forward and backwards. And I'm exaggerating the movement now so you can see it. But in rehearsal, when you're playing, you can simply do a tiny one to find the mobility and freedom in your hip joints. The next one we can do is to walk forward and backwards with our sits bone. So we can simply scooch one sits bone and the other one forward and backwards. So again, I'm going to show you a side view of what I mean by that. So we can scooch forward and backwards. And of course you can do it tiny bit so that it's not gonna interrupt your playing. And I want you to do it again and notice that by doing this, you're actually allowing that tiny bit of rotation in your spine. Remember the rotation we're talking about when we were doing some of the roll down, roll up and the arm movement in the first video? So this is a nice way to help you find a little bit of freedom in rehearsal or in performance situation that you cannot put down your instrument and go back to do what we did when we are in our practice session. Last thing that I want to share with you is called the constructive rest. A constructive rest is when you lie down on a padded floor for 10 to 15 minutes with your legs bent, knees pointing to the ceiling, your arms folded by your sides, and palms resting on your lower torso. You can do this at the end of a practice session or after a long rehearsal. This is a great way to release any tension in your body and allow your body to reset and to return to its natural alignment. While you're in constructive rest, there are a few things that you can think about to help you to practice self-awareness again and really sensing the integration of your whole body. You can use any of the ideas we talked about in the last videos or this video. You can also email me at atwitherin@gmail.com for a full guided constructive rest audio file. For constructive rest, you will need a yoga mat and some books to go underneath your head. The height of the book that goes underneath your head really depends from person to person because everybody has a different build. What we're going after is that we want the head to be in its natural alignment with our spine. So here are a few pictures of what ideal height is for our head. Basically, we want to have the face parallel to the ceiling and our eyes are resting nicely in our eye sockets, also parallel to the ceiling. Another way to check whether it's a good height for your head is that your airway is not restricted in any ways. You can try to play around with the different height and see what feels more comfortable. So here are the things that we can do to help ourselves before, during, and after our practice session or in rehearsal and performance. Basically, we're taking what we already learned from the first video and applying it to playing our instrument. I hope this video brings more clarity and to help you approach your instrument with more ease. Alexander Technique is a lifelong learning process that what we cover in these two videos are really just a scratch on the surface. If you like to learn more about the technique, I really encourage you to take some lessons with a certified teacher. The hands-on work of a certified teacher can really help you further your understanding of your body and to help you notice any undesirable habitual pattern and how to redirect yourself so that you can move more easily and more efficiently. If you have any questions or comments about this video, please feel free to email me at atwitherin@gmail.com. Thank you for watching.